Hi everyone, welcome to my channel, and today we are going to be talking about the Monkey Wrench Patchwork. You can see that. So this patchwork was designed, created back in the slavery days when the Underground Railroad started, or was happening. So it's a design that there's 9 different designs and they all have different meanings. We're just going to focus on one at a time. But the monkey wrench was a patchwork that they would put on a quilt, or I don't know, I guess like a quilt or blanket or some cloth, kind of like a flag. Not really a flag, but they would drape it over the fence as if they're drying a quilt or airing out a quilt. But the patchwork would send a message out to the other slaves to get ready, get prepared, gather all the tools that you need, and start working on preparing to leave. So that's the really cool thing. So anytime they saw this patchwork, they knew that it was time to start preparing and time to start moving. So what I'm doing, and this ties into the book that I'm working on, Forbidden. I'm making a skirt, actually. And it's done with Seminole style skirts with the rows of patchwork. I'm only doing 1 row. And it's still coming together. There's still things I'm working on. I do not consider myself a seamstress. I do this because I just enjoy doing it. I will be selling some of these skirts, but I can tell you now that they're not cheap. They're really not cheap. It's a lot of work. It's a lot that goes into making these skirts. However, if you like the design, if you want to wear the design, I will leave a link to where I have a store on Teespring where you can get the shirts, sweatpants, etc. that has the Monkey Wrench design on it. Also, any sales made there go towards the editing of my book, Forbidden. So, why am I making this design? Or I just found I came across it in research, and I just found that the history behind it was amazing, and it was beautiful, and it shows all the work that went into forming the Underground Railroad and getting it together and having it organized, and how they communicated with each other without talking, without giving away their position. So I thought it was cool. I will be selling some of these skirts. Again, any sales made goes towards paying for the editing of the book. I really want this book to be as perfect as it can possibly be, because I don't want anything to get in the way of the message behind it. So, for those of you who don't know, Forbidden is my 18th book. Forbidden is a story about Black natives. It starts out, I started writing this book, oh my gosh, I've been working on this book for years. I started working on this book back in, I want to say, I don't even know if my youngest was even born yet when I started working on this book. That's how long I've been working on this book. Gosh, I want to say from maybe 2000 and, let's say 2000. I think in 2010, 2011, I probably wrote like the first page of this book. How I write is I just use, it's like a burst of inspiration. I see a scene, I can I know it sounds crazy, but I could hear these characters talking, and the emotions, I start feeling the emotions of the characters, and I just grab a pen or my laptop and I just start clicking away. and I'll write until that's over. Whatever it is, wherever it ends, till I guess I hit a wall, you could say. So once that's done, then I won't go back to it until I'm inspired again. I may read over it to kind of get some inspiration going, but if nothing's coming, then to me that means that there's more knowledge needed on my end to continue to move the story forward. So I don't force it. I let the information and the knowledge come to me naturally. And I use inspiration from that to continue writing my book. So now I've finally reached near the end of this book. I could probably write this book. I could probably turn it into a series. However, I'm trying to make it into one complete book and then see and leave the ending open in case I do want to put a part 2 to it. But it's not cheap. The editing is not cheap. I didn't want to. It's already been proofread, and but I need industry standard editing because of where I'm trying to take it. So with all that being said, like it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work going into this book, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to go revisit all of my other books also, and you know, like you always want to put your best foot forward, and it's not cheap. You know, publishing books, you can do it for free. You can do a lot of the things for free if you're willing to learn how to do everything on your own, but it's not cheap to really get it to where you want it to be. So the point, let me tell you what the book is actually about. Tell you about all the background stuff. So what the story is about is there's this man, there's this couple. It starts out with her name is Amali. So Amali is engaged to a politician. Amali is African American. The politician is Caucasian, and he's the type of person that, or in his political speeches, whatever, what he says, what he claims he's all about is, you know, getting people out of poverty. He's about injustice, you know, fighting for black lives, things like that. But behind the scenes, he beats her. He's abusive to her. He's, you know, mentally, physically, and verbally abusive to her. And it reaches a point where, climax to a point where one night he accidentally kills her in beating her so damn bad. He has one of his henchmen come and pick up the body and dump it in the woods, miles and miles away. So the story takes place in Orlando. Most of my stories take place in Orlando because I grew up in South Florida. I lived in Orlando. And even though, like, right now I live in Alabama, but even though, like, Orlando is just, I don't know what it is about Orlando. I just love Orlando. But, so a lot of my stories take place, they start in Orlando. I got to try different spots, but it's what I know. So you got to write what you know. So, the story takes place in Orlando. The henchman, whose name is Greg Baptista, I can't remember his last name. Anyway, Greg takes the body, drives it all the way up to North Florida, to a cavern in North Florida, and dumps her body in the woods, deep in the woods. But there's a cavern theme park. There is a cavern theme park in Florida, which is kind of funny because most people are like, Florida got caverns? Is that underwater? But Florida does have caverns. It's North Florida though, so it's up there. But he dumps her body up there, and not in the theme park, just random, just dumps her body in the woods. He, you know, makes a shallow grave. He takes off her clothes and buries her naked in the dirt. What he doesn't know is that there's a hidden tribe of natives living in the cavern system, but in a part of the cavern system that is not visited by anybody. It's privately owned and strictly, you know, trespassing is strictly enforced. So basically, that plot of land is owned by some tribes. They're owned. I think I have it. It's the Seminole tribe that they're owned by, but it's not just Seminole tribe. It's also some other tribes that they own this land, and it's protected by them. So nobody's allowed to go on this land, and they very fierce about protecting it. The reason is because they have this tribe of hidden Indians that are living in the cave system, and who have been living there for hundreds of years, and they still live a very traditional way. So in enters Dakota. Dakota is, of course, he's handsome. He's a black native, and he is a warrior, and he's doing his shift. He's doing his night shift where he watches over the cave entrance at night to make sure no trespassers get too close, etc. So he sees this man, brings his body, dumps his body, buries it, and does all this stuff and leaves. And he realizes, like, they have kind of like a sixth sense. They're more in tune with the earth and everything. And he realizes that there's something strange about this. Not that he hadn't seen stuff like this before, but there was something really strange about this, because he realized that this person had a will to live. They weren't dead yet. So he went and did what was forbidden, and that's where the title Forbidden comes from. And it's forbidden for them to bring an outsider into the camp, into the tribe. But he went and dug up her body and rescued her. She wasn't dead. Basically, she was close. She wasn't dead. And he rescued her, and he brings her. He's bringing her, and he's running towards the cave. And of course, all the other guards that are hidden, jump out, like, "What the hell are you doing?" And this old man is walking by. He just can't sleep at night. He decided he's just gonna walk around the caves and just kind of like do a stroll. And he happens to be walking past the main entrance, and he hears the ruckus. So he decides he's gonna walk over there, and he yells at the youngins, like, "What are y'all doing?" And he takes his time walking down there, and they're like, they're very respectful to their elders, so they all stop and they listen. And he's like, what's going on? And Dakota, basically said a man threw her away, or threw this away. But he goes, "But she's not dead." And the old man looks at her, and he brushes the hair from her face, and he's like, "Yep, she's not dead." He goes, like, "She's close, but she's not dead." And he tells Dakota, "Bring her to the healer, let the woman clean her, and let the healer work on her, and then we'll decide why she was brought to us." And that's pretty much the first section of the first chapter. It's not the whole first chapter. Or it could be. I can't remember. You have to read the book. But that's how the first scene begins. So Dakota did the forbidden by saving, rescuing this woman and bringing her in. And it's a fun book. It also it touches on a lot of things. If you've read any of my other books before, like Endurance, Broken. Actually, I have Endurance right here. This is my first book. These books are based on fictional tales of spiritual warfare. But I always try to put life lessons in them. I feel like if you're going to read a book, gain something from it. Don't just, I don't know, I just feel like anything you do should bring value to you, to your life. And so I never want to put a book out there that doesn't in some way, shape, or form bring some kind of enlightenment to the reader. So even my book, Pharaoh, that's kind of, I don't consider it really dirty, but whatever. Some people might say that it's naughty. I don't think so. I've read worse books. But even in Pharaoh, there's lessons. So there's lessons in everything that I write. I don't want to put anything out there that doesn't have value or that won't give value. So anyway, in this book, it ties in with the struggles of Black natives. They're living peacefully and hidden in their cave system, but they also know that will come to an end at one point, and at some time, eventually it will come to an end. They don't know when, but they do know that it's possible because they've been hidden for a long time. So this whole thing with the insider and what Amali brings to the tribe, it could cause them to be exposed a lot sooner than they wish to. So I hope you check out my book. I am doing pre-orders. Again, the pre-order is going towards the editing of the book. I'm having the book edited multiple times. So any sales that I make, it goes towards it's being collected to have the book edited and re-edited. So I hope that you enjoyed this little, what do you call it, and learned about the Monkey Wrench Patchwork. I will have these skirts on sale on my website, april8thomas.com. But it will probably be a while because they take time to make, because I am not a seamstress. I do not sew. It's my passion that leads me, and I'm passionate about making them. So I enjoy making Seminole skirts. I enjoy making patchwork or learning how to make patchwork. And my patchwork is not perfect, nowhere near perfect. What you should do is you need to you could probably go online and find, I think eBay actually has a lot of Seminole Indian patchwork skirts that are just gorgeous there, and you will see the prices and you'll see why I say that they're not cheap, but they are gorgeous. I have a few skirts of my own, but and I cherish them highly. So I hope you enjoy. Talk to you later. Bye bye.